Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to talk about something way beyond the simple chat box we're all used to. We're diving into the future, Agentic AI. This is AI that doesn't just talk, it acts.
All right, let's jump right in. You've totally been there, right? You ask your chatbot to do something that feels super simple, but it's got a couple of steps, and it just falls apart. Well, there's a really good reason for that, and it's all about how these things are built from the ground up. So here's the thing. Most of the AI we use today, they're basically just workflows. Think of them like a script for a play. They follow the lines, and that's it. But for the really complex stuff, we need to build something totally different, a true agent. And that, my friends, is a whole new level. So, what's a workflow? Well, it's pretty much a one-way street. You've got your large language model, the brain of the operation, and it's locked into this predefined linear path. A perfect example is that HR bot. You ask, hey, how many vacation days do I have? It goes down its little path, finds the answer in a PDF, and spits it back out. Bam, done. Super simple, super reactive, and honestly, great for those one-off questions. But that's exactly where that simple workflow just completely hits a brick wall. Because what happens when you ask it something bigger, like onboard our new employee, Sarah? Whoa, that's not just one question. That's a goal. It means scheduling meetings, setting up accounts, maybe even ordering a laptop. That requires a system that can actually think, one that can plan and reason all by itself. Okay, so what really separates that simple little workflow from a genuinely smart, proactive agent? It really just boils down to a few key differences, a few superpowers, if you will. And this chart, it lays it all out perfectly. On one side, you've got the workflow. It's reactive. It uses one tool to answer one question, end of story. But the agent, it's proactive. It's a planner. It makes decisions on the fly and juggles multiple tools at once. We're talking your calendar, the HR system, Slack, the whole shebang, all to get that complex job done. And that right there, that's the heart of it all. An AI agent has autonomy. You don't give it a script, you give it a goal, and it figures out how to get there. It's the difference between a calculator and a real-life human assistant. Okay, but how do you actually build one of these things? Well, you can't use the old blueprints. That straight line, step-by-step thinking, it just won't cut it. We need a totally new kind of architecture, one that can handle the messiness of real life. Loops, decisions, even changing its mind. So, the old way of doing things, using traditional frameworks, creates what we call chains. And it's exactly what it sounds like, a straight, linear chain of events. Step A leads to step B, which leads to step C. It's predictable, it's reliable, and for simple stuff, it works just fine. But let's be real, complex problems are never a straight line, are they? Think about how you work. You try something, it doesn't work, you hit a wall, so you backtrack and try a different approach. An agent needs a brain that can do the exact same thing, and that brings us to a much, much more flexible way of building. And this table shows the huge architectural leap we're talking about. You've got LangChain, which is fantastic for building that straight, predictable road. But then you have something like LangGraph, which isn't building a road, it's building an entire city map. It's a graph. It has loops, it has branches, it has countless different routes to get to the same destination. It's dynamic, it's flexible. Honestly, it's a lot more like how a human brain works. All right, theory is great, but let's make this real. Let's see this in action. We're going to build a little stock trading assistant, and we're going to level it up step by step from a dumb bot into a real thinking agent. Okay, level 1. The first thing we do is give our bot a tool. Now, a tool is just a fancy word for a function it can use to grab live, real-world info, stuff that wasn't in its original training data, like, say, the current price of a stock. Boom. Just like that, it's not trapped in its static knowledge bubble anymore. But we hit a wall almost immediately. What if you ask a slightly more complex question, like, what's the total cost for 20 Amazon shares and 15 Microsoft shares? Our simple little bot chokes. It can look up one price, sure, but it can't look up a second one, remember the first one, and then do the math. It just doesn't have that reasoning power. And this is where that graph architecture works its magic. Welcome to level 2, reasoning loops. By building a loop, the agent can use its tool, get the Amazon price, and then, here's the key part, feed that information back to itself. It can then look at its original goal and think, okay, I'm halfway there. Now I need the Microsoft price. It keeps looping and thinking until the entire problem is solved. All right, now for the final upgrade, level 3. giving our agent a memory. We do this with something called a checkpointer, which is basically just a way to save the conversation's history. So now, after it does that big calculation, you can say, cool, now add 5 more shares to that total, and it actually knows what that total was. It remembers. It's stateful.
Okay, so this is all incredibly powerful. But let's be honest, it's also a little scary, right? Giving an AI this much freedom can be risky. Without any checks and balances, well, some people call it a monkey with a tool. You need some serious guardrails.
And that really is the #1 problem with agents today. Reliability. You absolutely have to be able to control them. It's all about finding that perfect balance between giving them the power to act and ensuring they're trustworthy. So how do we do that? Well, this is where that graph structure is just brilliant. It allows us to build in a human-in-the-loop approval process. Imagine this. The agent figures out it needs to buy 10 shares of Microsoft. But right before it pulls the trigger, the system interrupts itself. It pauses and sends you a notification. Hey, I'm about to do this. Is that cool? And it waits for you to say yes or no. This idea, this human-in-the-loop, is what makes these powerful agents not just a cool experiment, but something we can actually trust in the real world. You get all the benefits of its incredible speed and planning, but a human still has the ultimate veto power on the important stuff. It's how we make agents both powerful and safe.
So here's the big takeaway. We're moving from an era of AI that just answers questions to an era of AI that actually takes action. It's a massive shift from just retrieving information to automating complex tasks. And that opens up a whole new world of possibilities, leaving us with a really big question. Now that we can build these things, what are we actually going to trust them to do?